our names are Arnika Yasmin and Aurel Alifqa. In this video, we're going to talk about Louis de Camoens' most famous poem titled Os Lusi, and we found that the poem is very interesting.
The Lusíadas, or Os Lusíadas, is an epic poem written by Luís de Camões, Portugal's supreme poet and a major European artist who crossed the equator and settled in Asia, and was published in 1572. This poem describes the successful attempt to establish a maritime way to India by Vasco da Gama via southern Africa. The freshness of that original encounter with Africa and India is the very essence of Camões' vision.
The 10 cantos of the poem are in ottava rima and amount to 1,102 stanzas. Ottava rima is an Italian stanza form composed of 8 11-syllable lines rhyming A, B, A, B, A, B, C, C. It originated in the late 13th and early 14th centuries and was developed by Tuscan poets.
The first canto introduces the heroes of the poem, appeals to the faith and the gods for their blessings, and provides a dedication to Dom Sebastian, the king of Portugal at the time of writing. The epic story begins halfway through the first canto in the middle of the action, going back later to tell the backstory of the Portuguese journey. In the second canto, 2 scouts sent out by the Portuguese ship are fooled when Bacchus creates an altar that tricks them into thinking they are among Christians, when in fact they are among dangerous and angry Muslims. The Muslims ambush the Portuguese, but Venus appeals to her father, Jupiter, who foresees good tidings for the Portuguese. And then the men escape and sail on. At their landing, they are greeted by a welcoming sultan in Malinde. The third canto takes the reader back in time, telling the history of the nation of Portugal. First, Camões asked the muse Calliope for her guidance in the telling of this history. Camões begins with the origin of Portugal as a European power and continues to define what it means to be Portuguese. He finishes with the stories of various powerful Portuguese kings, particularly of the warrior kings of the first Portuguese dynasty. Many of these stories include the tales of beautiful Portuguese princesses, not unlike the Greek Helen, who play prominent roles in distant Portuguese battles.
More history continues in Canto 4, where Camoens talks about the House of Avis, which remained in power from 1383 until the sailing of the Vasco da Gama Armada to India at the beginning of the narrative. Camoens talks about how many Portuguese rulers dreamed of traveling to the East Indies, but that, finally, Dom Manuel had a dream of the Indus and Ganges River, asking him to come to India. As the armada was sailing off, Camoens recalls the story of the old man of Restelo, a particularly prophetic and pessimistic old man who, on the beaches, warns the sailors of the dangers they will meet in India should they make their journey. The fifth canto, perhaps the most like the Greek Odyssey, tells the story of the man meeting angry natives, a giant monster named Adamastor, and a plague of scurvy. In Canto 6 and 7, Bacchus becomes enraged and worries that the Portuguese have almost made it to India, so he sends a great wind to sink the ships. The storm strikes, and Vasco da Gama prays to his god, though Venus is the one who sends the nymphs to seduce the winds and calm them down. The men eventually land in Calicut, where they are greeted warmly.
The men experience trouble in Cantos 8 and 9 when Bacchus shows up to warn the Calicutan that the Portuguese are pirates, not traders. The people of Calicut then force the Portuguese to trade every item on board the ship as proof that they aren't pirates. Finally, the men flee, and Venus rewards them with a love island and many ocean nymphs whom they are able to easily seduce. The epic ends with a narrative from Thetis, a Greek goddess and lover of Vasco da Gama, who prophesies the history of African and Indian exploration, the battles fought, and even the voyage of Magellan. The book ends with Camus' advices to the new King Sebastian about the lands of the East.
That's all our presentation about the Lusiads or Os Lusiades by Louis